邪魔すんな、花垣。八海は。
ユゾ。
守る時に使うもんじゃねえよそれ。
三ツ矢くん。え？
俺の手が切れちまう。
三ツ矢。
Last time on Tokyo Revengers, in a moment of chaos, Yuzua surprised Taiju and stabbed him. Despite being stabbed, Taiju disarmed Hakai and survived the attack. It was revealed that Teta had betrayed Takemichi and his group. Taiju threatened to kill Takemichi unless Hakai complied. When asked why Hakai wanted him dead, Takemichi explained it was because of Taiju's treatment of Yuzua. Taiju laughed and decided to reveal Hakai's dark secret, but Yuzua interrupted and stabbed him again. Taiju punched Yuzua, and Hakai accused Takemichi of betrayal. Yuzua confirmed Teta was the one who had spilled the truth. The events unfolded in a tense and high-stakes scenario. At the start of episode 7, as Taiju is about to strike Yuzua, Takemichi quickly steps in, blocking his attack. Despite Taiju's insistence that he has no choice but to kill Yuzua and Takemichi, Takemichi refuses to let him harm his loved ones. Realizing that Taiju won't back down, Takemichi decides to take matters into his own hands and starts a scuffle. However, Yuzua intervenes, determined to protect her brother Hakai. She stands up, knife in hand, ready to fight alongside Takemichi. But just as things start to escalate, Takashi arrives, taking control of the situation. He snatches the knife away from Yuzua, reminding her that violence is not the answer. Takashi urges her to put down the weapon, and as she does so, she falls to the ground, exhausted from the chaos around her. With Yuzua out of harm's way, Takashi turns his attention to Taiju, who is still reeling from the sudden turn of events. Taiju questions Takashi's motives, wondering if he's willing to break their truce, but Takashi is resolute, refusing to let Taiju harm his sister. Meanwhile, Manjiro and Ken are cruising down the road on their trusty bikes. As they make their way through the stormy weather, Manjiro can't help but wonder if they heard Takashi's bike revving up earlier. However, Ken puts his fears to rest and reassures him that Takashi is the only nutjob who would be reckless enough to venture out in such treacherous conditions. Back at the fight, tensions are running high as Takashi and Taiju come to blows. Although Takashi manages to hold his own, it seems like Taiju is practically impervious to his punches. Suddenly, Chifuyu makes an unexpected entrance onto the scene, shedding some light on Takashi's motivations. It turns out that Takashi had saved Chifuyu from Teta, who had betrayed him and left him tied up. As the plot thickens, Takemichi can't help but wonder what's going on, but Chifuyu is quick to provide an explanation, revealing that he had called Takashi in a bid to take down Teta and end the conflict once and for all. Although Takemichi is skeptical about the truce, Chifuyu assures him that everything will be just fine as long as Takashi keeps his word. As Takashi falls to his knees, Taiju looks on in wonder, wondering if Takashi is already giving up. Despite using only 70% of his strength, Taiju can't believe that Takashi is already throwing in the towel. But then, to everyone's surprise, Takashi mocks Taiju and explains that he was just fixing his shoe. Hakai, however, is not amused and asks Takashi to stop, knowing that he can't beat Taiju. But Chifuyu, always the optimist, tells Hakai to just sit back and watch, explaining that Takashi is smart and always has a plan. He's stubborn, and he's doing this for Hakai, who's watching closely. Their fight rages on, and Takashi refuses to give up or fall down. He's determined to win no matter what. But Taiju is starting to get tired, and he knows that it's time to end the fight. He calls Seishu to come and join him, and they both attack Takashi. Hajime also shows up and joins in, making the odds seem impossible. Takemichi and Chifuyu charge at them in anger, but Takashi stands up and stops them. He knows the situation is bad, and he's trying to figure out a way to win. Taiju is a monster, and Seishu and Hajime will use whatever means necessary to win. Chifuyu is already beaten down, and Takashi himself can no longer fight. This only leaves Takemichi to save the day. But Takemichi is confident that everything will be fine. He knows that Manjiro and the rest will come to help, and they just need to hold out until then. However, Takashi surprises Takemichi by revealing that he came alone, because this is a personal issue. Takemichi is shocked and loses all hope. Takashi, however, has a plan. He tells Takemichi and Chifuyu that if they can keep the other two at bay, he will fight Taiju. But he can't do it alone and asks Hakai for help. He knows that Hakai is afraid of Taiju, but he's been protecting Yuzua until now. It's time for Hakai to step up and protect her again. With their combined efforts, they might just be able to win this fight and save Yuzua. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. Who's stronger, an army of 100 or a single man with the strength of 100 soldiers? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. Chifuyu takes on Seishu while Takemichi faces off against Hajime. At first, Taiju can't believe that Hakai would dare defy him, but Takashi keeps pushing him to fight. Despite his bravado, Takashi is easily taken down by Taiju, leaving Hakai looking hesitant. Meanwhile, Hajime takes down Takemichi, and Seishu takes on Chifuyu, eager for a better fight when Chifuyu is at her best. In the midst of the chaos, Hakai loses his cool and grabs a knife, but Takemichi manages to talk him down, telling him that he doesn't want to become a hopeless scum. Takemichi takes the knife from Hakai, determined to show him what it means to fight back. Facing off against Taiju once more, Takemichi attempts to land a punch, but is quickly knocked down. Taiju wonders how many times he'll have to beat him before he's satisfied, but Takemichi refuses to give up. Bloodied and barely standing, he declares that he won't lose. Chifuyu and Hakai both try to get Takemichi to stop, telling him that they've already lost, but Takemichi is determined to win, even pulling out the clover necklace that Hinata gave him for courage. He declares that he will defeat Taiju and take over Black Dragon. Will our hero be able to pull it off? Is anyone coming to save our ragtag group of rebels? Only time will tell. Stay tuned for our next coming recap of Tokyo Revengers Season 2, now airing.